An offer or a threat? This morning, millions of federal workers are faced with a choice: stay in their jobs with an uncertain future, or leave the government, leave their jobs with a buyout from the Trump administration. The White House made the offer in an abrupt email to employees with the subject line, "A fork in the road." And the clock is ticking. Federal workers have just over a week to decide if they stay. The administration is making clear their job still might not be there for long. It's part of Trump's push to dramatically shrink the size of government. One federal employee, though, tells CNN that people are stunned, pissed, baffled, and a bit scared. This is also only part of the latest episode of Donald Trump chaos. There's still mass confusion about what programs are really being impacted by President Trump's plan to freeze federal aid. Programs like Head Start, Meals on Wheels, agricultural programs, low-income housing assistance, all in limbo. For now, that freeze, though, is frozen. A federal judge has temporarily blocked the White House move to halt all of these grants and loans. CNN's Elena Trine following all of this. John said it right, an avalanche of developments today. What is the very latest that you're learning, Elena?
That's right. I do want to start with what you first mentioned, Kate, which was this email that was sent to all 2 million federal workers last night, offering them a buyout, as you mentioned, I think you put it perfectly, with an uncertain future. They can quit their jobs and be paid through September 30th, or stick around and figure out whether or not they will be forced to resign. Now, this is just the latest stunning move we've seen by the Trump White House, really to reshape the federal workforce in Donald Trump's image. Now, one thing to be clear on, as I said, this was sent to all 2 million federal workers, but there are some exemptions, I'm told, by a spokesperson from the Office of Personnel Management, which sent this out. These are the exceptions that they noted that would not be included in this buyout. It includes postal workers, military workers, immigration officials, certain national security roles, and any other roles that these different agencies deem as being necessary. Now, another thing I'm told is that the Trump administration is trying to frame this buyout as being an off-ramp for people who do not want to return to work full-time. We know that last week we saw Donald Trump issue a directive that said all people who have flexible schedules, remote schedules, have to come back to work full-time. They're saying this could be a good option for that. But again, this is being offered widespread throughout the government. I do want to read for you just some of what was in that email that was sent to all of these employees last night. It said, quote, "At this time, we cannot give you full assurance regarding the certainty of your position or agency, but should your position be eliminated, you will be treated with dignity and will be afforded the protections in place for such positions." Now, as you mentioned, Kate, as well, workers have until February 6th, which is just a week from tomorrow, to decide whether or not they want to opt for this type of buyout. Now, one other thing as well that's just, can't be lost in this is Elon Musk's involvement. We are told that Musk had long been wanting to do this, and he was very involved in the crafting of this effort. And the subject line that came on that email that was sent to all of these employees last night was "a fork in the road," very reminiscent of an email we know he sent to Twitter employees in 2022 before we saw a lot of the firings that happened there. So again, a massive change to the federal workforce. We'll have to see how many people end up actually taking this and what could happen thereafter.
Can I ask you about the Musk mirroring the email to Twitter employees to all federal workers?
Yeah, a fork in the road.
A fork in the road.
That was, I mean, can you imagine if you're a federal worker and that suddenly shows up in your inbox? Clearly, it's a symptom of his desire to get these government reforms going very quickly, and I guess you could say it's a pretty innovative thing to bring in the corporate solution on manpower and reducing manpower here. But yesterday was an interesting data point on this, because it showed people just how important government is in their lives in many ways, in ways we don't think about. If suddenly, thousands of government employees start taking these buyouts and there's no replacements, that could cause chaos. I mean, it's possible Trump could be more successful than he actually hopes to be in reducing the size of government. He may end up paying a political price. So that's something interesting to watch, I think.
He may end up paying an actual price if a lot of people end up taking the buyout. They say that they can save $100 billion, but there might be a lot of people who end up taking that. Would you take it?
It's a pretty generous offer. 8 months. It's more generous. Twitter was only 3 months. It's a pretty generous offer, and it's competitive with private sector. Actually, it's not like these guys are getting railroaded here.
Well, we'll see if they report out some of that data. We're all very curious.